Merry Christmas. This was an interesting one. I had I wound up with an extra day off for Christmas, so I had a 5-day weekend essentially, and you know, well, if you're on my Twitter, then you already know. I was like, oh, this will be a good time to relax. I was like, but what if I make a bunch of projects? What if I work on this stuff? What if I build a Raspberry Pi into that PC-122 keyboard that I have? What if I add add that Arduino Nano with pulse width modulation into my my pocket chip that doesn't have any pulse width modulation, so that I can do like buzzers and pulsing LEDs and stuff like that. I could probably put an LED strip in there. Oh, that'd be cool. Then it would be much more aggressive. But then, like, it doesn't fit, so I have to make a stand for it. So I design a stand in SCAD or Tinkercad and print that up on the 3D printer. And then wire it up and then get the GPIO running on it so you can control the output from the pocket chip. And fix the toilet and set up my car's Bluetooth. Yeah, that's super weird. So on that topic, I've got this. My car has an auxiliary connection on it, and it was something that I always kind of wanted because, you know, music and stuff. But the auxiliary connection is in like the center console, like back here. Oh, you can see that. And I would have to like run a cable out of it and then over and then to the center console and then up and then over to where my phone is over here. So I was like, that Bluetooth dope. So I got like this I got this really cheap Bluetooth thing, little module from Walmart for like $8 or something. I'm like, okay, I'll give this a shot. I'll try it. And it worked beautifully, and it's kept working beautifully. So I had it installed down here in the center console, but I still have to access it and push the button, and then sometimes it would get like stuck, so it's not connecting, and you have to get it so that it's connecting. But also when you power off, it charges, or you power it on, it charges, so it has to work while it's charged. Whatever. It would be more convenient to have it out here. So I had it put into here, this console at the front where I could see it, and it has like a mic and stuff like that. But it's like, how do I run it out here? How do I get all the stuff that's in here to over here? And I wound up getting this, I don't want to say impulse buy, but I wanted a cheap little AC adapter to USB, or, you know, cigarette lighter adapter to USB. And I'm like, well, I'll get a cheap one, because if it burns out my cheap Bluetooth, then I don't really care. Otherwise, I wouldn't trust it too much. But I was kind of impressed with the quality of the last one. So I'm trying to figure out how to bundle all of these things together. And then, like, trying to figure out, like, the geometry. I'm playing Legos, I'm playing Tetris. I'm trying to fit these pieces together so they all fit into the unit. Part of the problem of the Bluetooth module is, because it's so small, the connections are on either side of it. So it's this dinky little thing, and then it's got the micro USB connection sticking out the side for power. So the micro USB plug sticking out the side of this unit is like this long. It's like more than the length of the unit itself. So I've got this gigantic lever on the side of it that's just perfect for snapping right off. You know, just break that micro USB connection right off. Also, the auxiliary cable plugs into the other side. So instead of having this nice, neat little unit that's battery powered and probably about that big, and very thin, I have this nice neat unit, and then a giant lever that I can't touch, and another lever that just takes up a bunch of space, and I don't want to kink the cables, and I can't, you know, I can't put pressure on them while I'm pushing on the button. Because if I just jam it somewhere and the end's hanging off, it's kind of an engineering problem. Like, when I put pressure on it, I want the pressure to be on a load-bearing area, essentially. And if putting that pressure on it puts any flex on the cable or any flex on the power adapter, you know, it's not going to last that long. So I'm trying to play Tetris with this and fit all this together so that it just works. And I'm also trying to figure out how to run the auxiliary cable forward to this front area from the center console. And I'm just like, what if I just shove it through here and like pull up on the side and shove my hand in up under the center console area and just run the cable through, just yank it through. Like, all right, but then I need a hole in the center console. So I don't measure anything. I don't figure out exactly how I'm going to do it. I don't figure out the orientation. I just grab a drill and I just drill a hole in my center console a little higher up, so I know if like detritus gets in there, it's not going to work its way into the underside of the console. But I just drill a hole. I do at least check that the drill is wider than my auxiliary cable, because that's what's going to run through. So I'm like, all right, I've drilled a hole. Congratulations, Troy. You're a genius. Now you're going to like figure out how to mount a female adapter on there so you can plug into it. And I just take it and I plug the Bluetooth into it. So I've got a panel, and I drill a hole through it, and then I pull the cable through, and then I plug the Bluetooth into it. And I'm like, cool. You know, you're a genius. You just drill holes and stuff. Fantastic. And then I take the other end of the cable as it runs down into the console and plug it in to the center console here. And as I'm doing that, I'm pulling on the other end with the Bluetooth cable. And as I pull it through, it goes, the Bluetooth module goes up against the wall where the hole is. So I've essentially got the center console with the hole drilled in it coming through, and then the Bluetooth module comes up and it just kind of rests against it. So now the plug is basically plugged into it through the wall of the console. So I do that and I'm like, well, that's actually kind of good, because the cable, I'll put pressure on the cable, that's okay. Like, that's supported. That actually supports the position. And it takes the entire head of the auxiliary cable and hides it within the console. So I'm like, that kind of technically works, but I don't think that my AC adapter is going to fit. So I'll wind up taking I'll post a picture of this. It's kind of a mess, but so I take the AC adapter, I take my Bluetooth module, I pull it out of the way, I plug the AC adapter in, and I put it back in, and it rests exactly on the AC adapter. So all positions are supported. And then when I take the USB plug and plug it into the side of the module, it is also supported on the AC adapter. Also, the AC adapter has two USB ports, one on the top and one on the bottom. When I take the wire for that AC adapter, snake it around the back, wing it around the side, and plug it into the front, I have an open USB port. This is almost like a superpower or something. I don't understand it. I just do stuff. And then everything works out better than it would have if I would have planned it. So originally I had this idea of like running the cable and then making a female mount for it so that there's an AC adapter and an auxiliary cable plug. And then I would take male connections for those and build them into a 3D printed housing, and then put the lights, rewire the lights so they're at the front, and rewire the button so it's at the front. Then I would have this little module that I 3D printed that would essentially just plug in, and it would plug into the AC, and it would plug into the auxiliary. That was the idea. Instead, what I did was I drilled a hole, and then everything worked perfectly. I don't know what this is, and I am almost like worried to tell everyone else to just try stuff, TM, because this is super weird. It just works. I do not know how to interpret this. Also, everyone got sick. So, while I'm taking care of groaning kids and pregnant wife, I'm running downstairs and like, let me work on this real quick, or let me check my prints, and let me pull that out, and let me solder this real quick, and then go back up and check on them, and everyone's still asleep, and I go back down. It was an interesting Christmas, but it was also a I don't want to say revealing Christmas. I don't know. It was very poignant somehow. And because I have, everyone was basically having a horrible time and whining and crying and just, having the flu and just feeling terrible. And I'm there, I'm on what's essentially my vacation, and I'm taking care of them, and I'm really happy about it. And I can't help but just like look at them, and my heart just soars because I'm just so happy. And I know they're miserable and everything, and like you're supposed to have awesome times when it's awesome times, and you're like, wow, everything's great. Instead, I'm like, everyone's sick, but everything's really awesome, isn't it? Like, God bless the world, Jesus. Yes, like life is good, amazing, and everyone's like sick and blah. But I don't know. It was just, I don't know what to call it. It was something. But God bless everyone. It's just, life is good. For whatever tomorrow brings, today, life is good.